Okay, let's begin stretch flow. This is an hour class. I'd like you to come to your mat and child's pose. Now, there's a lot of ways you can modify child's pose to make it more comfortable. Now, this sort of typical shape of child's pose, knees out wide, toes to touch, stretch out long with the hands, and let the head be heavy. Now, this sometimes feels like a lot to ask on knees and hips. So if you have a blanket or pillows, you can put behind your knees so that your knees don't have to flex quite as much. Sometimes that's helpful. A little extra padding under the knees as well might be a game changer for you. And then perhaps just a simple block or something that raises the ground up so that your head doesn't have to come all the way to the floor. Now, you have the invitation always to, try out this pose and figure out a way to make it work for you. But if it doesn't, honor that, and that's okay. So if child's pose is just not going to work for you and being able to let go and arrive on your mat, find another shape. You can be on your back or seated, whatever works for you, okay? So wherever you are, just begin to quiet your mind a little bit. Turn off that thinking brain. And become more aware of your breath. I think one of the many reasons we love yoga is because we do get to stretch and move our body intentionally. But the real power in yoga is not just stretching and moving your body, but doing it mindfully with presence. And so right here, as we begin our practice, begin to cultivate that presence. And let's do that by deepening your breath, just little bits at a time. So slowly, if you're just arriving, we're in child's pose. Slowly deepening your breath. And then feeling how that translates in your body when you deepen your breath. On your inhale, your rib cage really expands in all directions fully. Even your shoulders begin to rise at the top of your breath. On your exhale, the rib cage collapses and the hips grow heavy. Maybe there's a little toning at the low belly at the bottom of your exhale. Anchoring your internal drishti, your internal gazing point between your eyes, and breathing. Filling up the lungs completely with each in-breath and emptying completely on the out-breath. Really immersing yourself in this moment, shedding off your morning this far and your afternoon to come so that you can move and breathe and cultivate presence. Take the next couple of breaths to create an intention for your practice today. It can be as simple as stay present. Take a couple of mindful, full, complete breaths to seal that intention in. Now, if you are not a child, okay, so if you're in child's pose, you're staying in child's pose. If you're had some other shape to start with, you're in all fours. Wherever we are, lift the right hand, come up a little bit off the knees and bring the right hand underneath the left arm into a simple twist, letting the shoulder and the temple come down back into your child's pose. If you're doing this from an all four position, your hips will just be raised up a little bit higher over the knees. Okay, so still that nice gentle twist, a little stretch through the shoulder. Continue your mindful, full breaths. And then just noticing what your inhale feels like in this twisted version of child's pose. On your next inhale, press firmly through the left hands, unwind, and bring that right hand back to the mat and switch sides. Taking the opposite hand now, reaching it under, looking under. And again, if you're in all fours, your hips are just higher, you're still doing the same motion. And then settling down here, feeling those breaths in your body in this twisted motion. Next inhale, push firmly through the right hand, lift slightly, and bring both hands out in front. Walk your hands to the right, lift your chest and put it down on your thigh. Bring your left hand onto your right and lower the head. So if you're in all fours here, you're just gonna walk your hands out to the side as you come into this side stretch. Either way, all fours or in child's pose, as you reach to the right with your hands, push your left hip to the left, really sort of emphasizing that space between rib cage and hip bone there. And then again, taking those nice big full breaths and really feeling what those breaths do to your stretch. Next, inhale, walk your hands through center all the way to the other side. Right hand on top of left. Lift your chest and belly onto your left thigh. And as you reach to the left, your right hip is pushing out to the right. And again, if you're doing that from more of a tabletop, you're just walking your hands out to the left and pushing that right hip out to the right. And then again, nice full breath. Next, inhale, walk your hands back to center. Both hands plant into the mat. Come up into tabletop. Take a moment, set yourself up. Hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Pull that low belly in and pull the shoulders down the back. Take a nice full inhale, and on your exhale, round the back into cat. Inhale, sag the belly into cow. Using your breath, exhaling cat, inhaling cow, getting your spine, your skull, and your hips to articulate back and forth, using your breath to help guide these movements, maybe getting a little bit more range of motion as you move through. All right, come into stillness, find that nice neutral spine, pull that low belly in, take your right foot and extend it back behind you with your toes on the ground, okay? Anchor the right heel to the ground, so the inner arch now is coming to the ground as your hips open up. And then you're gonna bring their arm and lift it up. So you're sort of in a modified side plank. Now, if you're wobbly and you're kind of here, that's fine. Just keep that hip open. If you're with me, you're opening up the hand, maybe looking up, looking down might help a little bit with balance. And then reach your right arm up overhead, bringing your bicep to your ear. Again, I want you to think about that separation of rib cage and hip bone. Take a couple of big breaths here, feeling how that translates in this side stretch. And on your exhale, coming back into a 4-point stance here. That right leg is still long, lift it up. Okay, so now we have to engage that right glute, pull the belly in, shoulders down the back. You can stay here if this is good for you, or come in and bring your left arm and reach it out in front of you, bird dog. Try to resist the hips falling or collapsing. So keep those hips square to the ground. Pull the shoulders down the back. Hold for a count of 3, 2, 1. Release down to the mat and bring your right foot out to the side. Plant your right foot on the ground. Okay. Now I want you to think about bringing your right sit bone and pushing it down to your left knee. Okay, that's going to create that stretch in the inner thigh. Little bend in the knee if you feel a lot of sensation on the inside of the knee. Find that stretch. And then if you'd like to make that stretch a little more dynamic, shifting the hips back and forth. So keep that push of the right sit bone down towards the left knee as you rock the hips back and forth. If you are staying put, just kind of keep that low belly in, that nice structure through the body as you push that hip down and find the stretch. One more breath here. Pull the low belly in once your hips are over your knees and return that right knee to the ground underneath you. Inhale fully, exhale, cat, inhale, cow. Just a few more rounds here between sides. Maybe kind of feeling how one hip might feel a little bit different than the other. Finding that neutral spine. All right, left toes, reach out back behind you with a straight leg. Scooch up a little bit. Okay, now you're gonna ground that left heel. Okay, your hip is gonna open up, and then if you're kind of, working on your balance, stay with the closed chest. Otherwise, open up that chest now. And I know I'm facing away from you. And then reach that left arm up overhead. Shoulders pull down the back. Don't forget about that low belly pulling in. And then really inhale fully here, feeling that separation of rib cage and hip bone. And then bring that hand back up over and round down, grounding the left hand, squaring the hips. Left leg is still straight. Now lift that left leg up. Okay, pull that belly in. So we don't want to let that overarching of the back happen. So the belly pulls in to help protect the low back. Stay here or extend the right arm long. Okay, just a little bit of sort of heat building here. Pull the shoulders down the back, lift the heel a little bit longer, pull the low belly in and gaze just at the front of your mat. Holding here, 3, 2, 1. Ground the back toes and the right hand. Open up that left leg to the left. Make sure that the sole of the foot is on the ground. And then really find that stretch by taking the left sit bone towards the right knee. Sorry, I jumbled up on my words. So left sit bone towards right knee. So find that stretch. And then if you'd like to, make it dynamic by pushing the hips back and forth. Keep tapping into that breath, keeping it nice and full. One more breath here. Find your hips over your knee, pull the low belly in, and then return the left knee underneath you. All right, walk your hands a little bit further in front of your shoulders. Okay. You're gonna push back as far as you can with your hips, all the way back to child's pose if you can, if that's comfortable. And then inhale, all the way forward, pushing the hips forward, shoulders down the back. Find a little bit of backbone, squeezing the glutes a little bit. Exhale, push your hips back. And then inhale, shift your hips forward. Find that range of motion that works for you. Exhale back. Inhale, forward, shoulders down the back. Squeeze those glutes a little bit as you push forward. One more, complete breath. Back and forward. All right, finding neutral with the spine, sliding your hands back underneath. If you'd like to, downward facing dog, you can stay in all fours, but we are coming into a ragdoll position. So our feet are gonna walk up with a generously bend in the knee, okay? So now we're in a forward fold position. However you got there is just fine, okay? Your feet are hip width. Your knees are bent so much that your belly and your chest can lay down on them. Let the weight of your head go. And then you can let your hands be on the mat, or you can grab opposite elbows. And here, shake out your head yes and no. Just to kind of feel that traction in the cervical spine. And then invite a little bit of rotation. Be gentle here. Just to kind of feel how that might feel now in this sort of new position we're in. All right. Let the hands drape to the mat. Bring your feet together. So heel toe them together so the heels and toes touch. On an inhale, slide your hands up your shins, lengthen your spine. On your exhale, you can keep your knees as bent as you need. Forward fold, tone the low belly, bring the forehead towards the shins. We're gonna do that again. Inhale, hands to shin, nice long spine. Shoot the tailbone behind you. Exhale, tone the low belly, let the head hang and pull in. Inhale, up. Exhale, fold. All right, this time inhale, bend the knees generously, long back. Sweep the arms up and over. Extended mountain pose, hands are overhead. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Pause here for a moment. I know you can't see my upper half. Feel the grounding in all parts of your feet. Push firmly through both your heel and your toe in the inside and the outside of your foot. And let that grounding and strength travel up your body all the way through your hips and spine and shoot out the crown of the head, standing tall and proud. Bow your head for just a moment. I want you to take a couple of breaths, reconnect to your intention that you set at the beginning of class. Just dialing that in, bringing it in with you. We're going to warm up the body with some sun salutations. They'll be modified. Inhale, sweep your arms up and over, look up, watch them connect. Exhale, dive forward with a flat back. You can bend your knees as much as you need to. Inhale, lift and lengthen hands to the spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up and over, extended mountain pose. Exhale through heart center. I'm going to do that twice more. Inhale, sweep the arms up and over. Exhale, dive forward, flat back, bend your knees as much as needed. Tone the low belly. Inhale, lift and lengthen the spine, bring your hands to your shin. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up and over. Look up, watch them connect. Exhale, bring your hands through heart center. We have one more just like that. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Look up. Exhale, dive forward with a flat back. Forward fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen, bring your hands to your shins. Exhale, tone the low belly and fold. Inhale, bend the knees, sweep the hands up and over. Exhale through heart center. Okay, we're gonna add on to that now. You should be at the top of your mat. Inhale, sweep the arms up and over. Exhale, dive forward, bend your knees. Inhale, lift and lengthen the spine, hands to the shins. Exhale, plant your hands and step back. Now you can remain in plank pose, or you can drop the knees. On your exhale, shift your weight forward and lower your body all the way to the mat, nice and slowly. On your inhale, push your hands firmly into the mat as you lift your chest, and then exhale through tabletop into downward facing dog. Okay, you can remain in tabletop. We are going to take little baby steps. Inhale, exhale, walk your feet, coming into a forward fold on an exhale. Inhale, lift the spine, bring the hands to the shins. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up and over, extended mountain. Exhale through heart center. Pausing for just a moment here. You guys are doing great. Next, inhale, sweep the arms up and over. Exhale, dive forward, bend the knees as needed, all the way down. Inhale, lift and lengthen, hands to the shin. Exhale, plant the hands, step your feet back, lower your knees, and lower yourself down all the way to the mat as slowly as you can do it. Inhale, push firmly through your hands, squeeze your glutes, and lift your chest up. Exhale, push yourself up through tabletop and downward facing dog. Okay, again, we're gonna come into forward fold. So exhale, we're gonna walk our feet forward, finding our forward fold on our exhale. Inhale, lift and lengthen the spine, hands to the shins. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up and over. Watch them connect. Exhale, hands to heart center, pausing here for a moment. And close your eyes, feel your breath, tap into your body. All right, last one. Inhale, sweep the arms up, look up. Exhale, dive forward, flat back, bend the knees. Inhale, lift, lengthen the spine, hands to the shins. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, lower or don't lower the knees, you choose. And then exhale, lower your body all the way down to the ground. Inhale, push through the hands, lift the chest, squeeze the glutes. And on your exhale, pushing your body up through tabletop and downward facing dog. Okay. Lower your knees to the ground, finding a tabletop position. Okay. We're gonna bring our right foot to the outside of our right hand. So we'll come into a position like this. It's like a low lunge. You've got that right foot forward, okay? And actually, let's heel toe it towards the inside, the middle of your hand. So your right foot is in the middle of your hands. Okay, with your hands on the ground now, sometimes if you have blocks, sometimes blocks here feel really nice and supportive. Okay, I want you to just think about squaring the hips. So the right hip pulls back, the left hip pushes forward. Good. So with that stability, come on up, upright with the hands, or with the chest, sorry, good. And then on an inhale, sweep the arms up and over. Okay, pausing here for a moment. So square those hips, recommit to that right hip pulling back and the left hip pushing forward. want you to think about that tailbone stretching to the ground, that low belly pulling in. That gives us a little bit more of a neutral hip. It's also going to give us a stretch along that left front of the leg. All right, I want you to grab your left wrist with your right hand, and then on an exhale, lean to the right. So as I'm leaning to the right, my left hip is pushing out to the left. Now you might be a little wobbly here, and that's okay. That just means you're working on your edge. Okay, we're getting a stretch across the side body, the hip, and the IT band here. Coming back up to center, releasing the wrist, and then bringing the hands down to the mat or blocks. Now we're going to heel toe that foot out to the outside of the right foot. Okay, I'm going to get rid of my blocks, but blocks are certainly an option there. Okay, keep the left hand planted firmly underneath your left shoulder. Inhale your right arm up, look up, keep the shoulders down the back. Exhale, reach that elbow, right elbow towards the right instep of the foot. Whether it gets there or not, it doesn't matter. Inhale, look up, reach up. Exhale, bring the elbow to the instep. We're going to do that one more time. Inhale, exhale. Good. Pausing here, replanting the right hand, shifting our hips back a bit, and bringing our right leg back. So find tabletop once again. Okay, we're going to go on the other side now. Okay, so our left foot, we want it to come in between the hands. Okay, so however it gets there is perfect. Don't worry about how it looks or whatever. Okay, so add your blocks if you needed them or if you have them. Okay, blocks are great there. Okay, now I want you to think about that stability in the hips. The right hip pushes forward, left hip pulls back, belly pulls in. Now with that stability, push down through that right foot and come upright with the torso. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead and shift your weight forward just a bit. So keep that squaring of the hips. Again, think about that tailbone pulling down towards the mat, low belly pulling in. Okay, so now we're going to grab our right wrist with our left hand. And as we exhale, we're going to lean to the left as our right hip might push out to the right a little bit. Again, kind of feeling that separation of rib cage and hip bone. And then coming upright, releasing the wrist, and then bringing the hands down to the mat. Heel toeing your left foot so that's on the outside of the left hand, and then planting that right hand firmly on the mat, shoulders down the back. Inhale, left hand up, look up. Exhale, reach the left elbow towards the left instep of the foot. Inhale. Exhale, one more, just like that. Inhale. Exhale. Good, plant both hands firmly on the mat. Pull the low belly in and shift the hips back a bit. And then however that knee gets back underneath you is perfect. And then we're actually going to come all the way down. So lowering your chest all the way down onto the mat. Quick stretch here on our belly. Okay. Take your right arm and bring it out to a T. Okay. If you have a tight chest or any real kind of shoulder issues, you might want to take your angle a little further down, so lower than the shoulder. Otherwise, you're about at shoulder height. Okay, you're going to bend your left elbow and bring it to the mat right on the outside of your rib cage on the left. Okay, look to the left and begin to push through that left hand and open up the chest. Once you can open up the hips and bend that left leg to place the left foot on the ground. So this is a chest opening. Take it slowly. Let your head rest on the mat. If there's any like sharp pains, right, we want to listen to that. That's like a nope, don't do that. If you want to come out of it and kind of figure out a different angle, do that. Okay. You can also bend the elbow of the right hand. That changes it as well. So wherever you are here, try to find some places you can relax through this. Slowly lowering down, and now taking the left hand out to the side, palm on the ground. Bring your right palm to your right, outside of the right rib cage, and push that chest up, other side. So on this side, I have a little bit more room, and my right foot can kind of rest behind my right leg. Okay, so kind of feel it out, really take it slow, and again, really listen to any, sharp pains. Strong sense of stretching, that's okay. Just breathe through it. And then slowly coming out of that. Tucking the back toes, bringing the hands to either side of the rib cage, and then pushing yourself up to all fours. Okay, and we're going to take our right knee and bring it up and over our left knee. Okay, now I'm going to open up my feet almost as wide as the mat there. Now take this slowly as well. You guys are warmed up, so your body can go here, and begin to push your hips back. And perhaps you're able to go all the way back, right? All the way to a seated position. That's great, but that's it's a lot to ask. So really just feel this out. And if all you get is just pushing your hips back a bit, that's okay. Keep the belly pulled in and the spine long, wherever you are. And if you're all the way seated here, rock yourself forward, coming into that all fours, and uncross your right leg. Okay, other side. So left leg now comes up and over the right knee behind you. Open up those feet as wide as the mat, and then pulling the low belly in, keeping the spine long, and investigating here. Breathe through it, especially if it feels really intense for you. Your breath is your friend. And then, maybe after a few breaths, you feel like, oh, I got a little bit more room. We have maybe 2 more breaths here just to kind of find that last bit of settling in. And then if you've come all the way upright into a seated position, you're rocking yourself back up, uncrossing your knees, and then just straighten one leg at a time here, just to say thank you for stretching, right? Thank you for doing that. It was hard. Okay. You're going to tuck your toes underneath, and then walk your hands up so that you're in, and bring your feet to touch before you do that. Walk yourself up to an upright position. So this is another one that can be kind of intense. I'm selfishly doing this because I went on a run this morning, and this feels really good on my feet. So if you're like, oh man, this sucks, I'm sorry. I want you to take your pinky toe. Pinky toe tends to like not want to be underneath your foot. So kind of make that pinky toe do that. And then as much of your weight over your heels, stretching those toes and underneath your foot. So just settle into the intensity of this if it feels intense for you. Knowing that, no one's forcing you to stay here, but you usually have at least one more breath than you think you do in intense stretch. All right, rocking your weight forward. Ooh-wee, that feels, come out gently. And then, just curl your toes, maybe, bang them up and down just a little bit on the mat, a little sort of percussion massage here. Okay, we're gonna come into a seated position. So rock your hips back, let them come off to the side, and then swing your feet out in front of you. Okay. All right, bring your feet as wide as the mat, and your feet are firmly on the ground. Bring your hands back behind your hips, mostly so that you can recline just a little bit and have a nice long spine here. Belly should be pulled in as well. Okay, we're just gonna let our knees fall from one side and then the other. Now, every time you let your knees fall to one side, the opposite side hip, I want you to try to keep it grounded, right? It wants to come up. That's what it wants to do usually. It wants to kind of pull up here. I want you to really fight that and try to keep that opposite side hip on the ground. And just find a rhythm that works for you. And if you find one spot that feels good, indulge. Stay there for a moment before you go to the other side. So keeping it dynamic, but giving yourself permission to, you know, find that stretch and hold it for a minute. All right, we're gonna come into a seated position. Okay, so lots of times when we're on the floor, we end up getting into a position that sort of looks a little bit like this. So if you have something handy to sit on, that'll help keep your hips in a neutral position. If you scoot your sit bones all the way to the edge of whatever it is you're sitting on, it'll rock your hips forward and allow you to sit on the ground a little bit more comfortably. So you can feel free to grab something like that if you think that might be helpful. Okay, hands resting on the knees. Just close the eyes for a moment and settle in here. And just tap into the grounding of your sit bones into the mat underneath you. And sort of the heaviness of your lower body, but more light and buoyancy of your upper half. Just be mindful of what's going on in your shoulders and jaw. Don't keep tension there for now. We don't need it. Blink your eyes open if they were closed. Inhale, sweep your arms up, look up, watch them connect. Exhale through heart center. Twice more on your own. Meeting in heart center. One more time, inhale up. And on your exhale, bring your right arm underneath your left as you wrap them up into eagle arms. So oftentimes this is done in a single leg balance on your feet, but we're just doing it with our arms. Now I want you to lift your forearms up so they're, in your line of sight. Now, just as much as this arm variation pulls your shoulder blades away from each other, I actually want you to pull your shoulder blades together just a little bit. What that's going to do is broaden your chest. Sit nice and tall, pull the belly in, gaze through your arms. Meet me at the bottom of an exhale, all of your air out. And then on your inhale, unwind, sweep your arms up, and then bring your right arm down to your hip onto the mat. Exhale, lean to the right. That right hand becomes a kickstand that you can slowly inch out. Keep your chest rotated up and your belly pulled in. And then just be mindful of your shoulders. And then again, anchor that left hip into the ground and feel that separation of rib cage and hip bone. Keep those nice solid big breaths. Those big breaths really enhance a stretch like this. On your next inhale, come back upright. Take your right hand, place it behind your right hip with your fingertips away from you. Inhale, look up, reach up with your left hand. Exhale, twist to the right, bringing your left hand to the outside of the right knee into a twist, a seated twist. Both sit bones are anchored, your belly's pulled in, shoulders down the back, and you have a nice long spine that you're twisting open with the chest. You can readjust that right hand however needed. And then maybe you complete that twist by looking behind you. Let's meet at the bottom of the exhale as you just twist that little bit more. And on your inhale, sweep your arms up and over as you untwist. Exhale, heart center. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, heart center. You have 2 more on your own. On your next inhale, sweep your arms up. And then on your exhale, left arm underneath the right as you wrap them up into eagle arms. All right, so doing all the things, right? We lifted our forearms so that we had to gaze right through them. And then pulling your shoulder blades together just a little bit, just resisting that back stretch just a bit so we can broaden our chest. And then belly pulls in. Release right at the base of the skull. And breathe. Meet me at the bottom of your exhale. So exhale all of your air out. On your inhale, slowly unwind and sweep your arms up. And then the left hand comes to the side. Inhale, reach up, look up, and then exhale, leaning to the left. That left hand is your kickstand, inch it out as needed, rotating the chest up, anchoring that right hip, being mindful of your shoulders, keeping that chest bright and up to the sky. Gaze is either down or up, you choose. Inhale yourself back up. Take your left hand and put it back behind your left hip. Rotate your fingertips behind you. Inhale, fully look up. Exhale, coming into a twist. Right hand on the outside of left knee. Really broaden that chest, belly pulls in. Find that long spine. Okay, and then on an exhale, twist just a little bit more. So breath work in twists is very handy. So your inhale, really sit tall, and then your exhale takes you just a little bit further. So it becomes this little dance of kind of coming out of the twist and fully elongating the spine, and then exhaling into the twist. Look behind you. And on your next inhale, untwist slowly, slowly inhale, your arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, this is one place where the strap will come in handy. Whatever you're using for a strap, and maybe some of you don't actually need a strap for this, we're doing cow facing arms. So it's a stretch that kind of does this, okay? So a towel will work if you don't have a strap. You know, there's a lot of things that'll work. So just some extra fabric. So you're gonna take whatever it is you're using and drape it over your right shoulder, okay? And then you're gonna take that left hand and sweep it back behind the small of your back and reach for that strap. So I've got my strap here with my left hand behind me, okay? And I'm gonna take my right arm up and bend at the elbow, reaching back behind my shoulder blades and grabbing on to that strap, okay? So now our hands are connected even though they may not be able to actually connect, okay? I want you to think about that elbow pulling back towards behind you, okay? Now wherever it is fine, just create that action of pulling it back, okay? And then you can maybe begin to inch your hands a little bit closer to each other behind you. Keep your low belly in, okay? And again, sharp pains on these, definitely no, right? But you wanna feel a stretch here. Think about the shoulders being pulled down a bit as you actively push that right elbow back behind you. And if you'd like to take it further, a few of you may, you'll inhale fully. And then exhale, you'll begin to fold over your legs. Keep the spine long. Keep that right elbow pulling behind you. If you're hinging from the hips and bending, bringing it back up. Slowly release your grip on the strap, and just a couple of shoulder rolls or figure eights or little seated cat cows between side, whatever feels good. Just kind of make it organic. Okay. And then taking that strap and bringing it over to the left shoulder and now, or the other shoulder, whichever one you haven't done. Right hand reaches back behind you, grabbing the strap. Left arm will come up, bend at the elbow and reach back behind you so that your hands are now connected through the strap. And then pulling that left elbow back, really being mindful of not coming into hyperextension or extra extension in the low back. So you don't want to overarch in that back. Belly pulls in to combat that. Shoulders pull down the back. And then maybe you can inch your hands a little bit closer. Don't forget about that low belly. And then if you wanted to take it a little further, inhale and then exhale, hinging from the hip, keeping the spine long, actively pushing that elbow back behind you as you lower the chest down into a fold. And if you're hinging, slowly bringing yourself upright and then releasing the strap. And you can put the strap off to the side for now. You may need it again. And then again, just kind of rolling out the shoulders, maybe a little bit of seated cat-cow, just something. Okay, I'd like you to extend both legs out long, Dandasana. Find straight and strong legs. Okay, so your toes are pointed up, your kneecaps are up the leg, your belly's pulled in. Sweep your arms up. And exhale as you hinge from the hip. I want you to keep a long spine here. So we're going to use that breath work. Inhale, long spine. And your hands are wherever they can be. Exhale, maybe you get a little more forward fold. Okay. Inhale, long spine. It might bring you out of it a little bit. Exhale, maybe a little bit more hinging. Your goal here is to really get your sit bones. When we're in a seated position, they're pointed down. But as we hinge forward, we want our sit bones to push almost back behind us. So that's really what we're working on here. A little bend in the knees is fine. Using those inhales, we will round the back in a moment. See how far you can get with this nice long spine. On your next exhale, if you'd like to round the spine, let the head be heavy, bringing it closer to your shins or knees. And letting go here a little bit through the spine. Next inhale brings you up to that long spine and then all the way up using your hands to help. Bend your right knee, bring your right sole of the foot to the inner left thigh. Again, sit nice and tall. That left leg is straight and strong, so it's not floppy, right? Toes are up, kneecap up the leg. Sweep the arms up. And exhale, fold over the left leg. Again, long spine to start with. Actively pull that right knee towards the mat. And then remembering that we have that left leg, it's straight and strong. A little bend in the knee is okay though. Keeping that nice long spine on your inhale, exhale, maybe you fold. Really beginning to maybe feel that stretch in the low back, into the hip. On your next exhale, if you'd like to round through the back, let the head be heavy, reach your arms out. And to come out, inhale, lift and lengthen the spine, and then come all the way upright. Bringing that knee up, the right knee up and the right sole of the foot to the ground, and then crossing the right foot over the left foot. Okay. Bringing that right hand back behind you. Inhale that left arm up. And we're coming into a twist on our exhale, grabbing our right knee and pulling it into the chest, giving it a little hug. If you feel like you don't need that right arm, that right hand on the ground for support, you can give your knee a double arm hug. So this is just a gentle twist. Now our chest is opening up to the right. We want to really kind of focus on that nice long spine as we pull our knee and thigh kind of across our body. Good. Slowly coming out of that and elongating both legs. Just maybe a little bouncing of the knees before we go to the next side. All right. So left sole of the foot, inner right thigh. Okay, right leg straight and strong. Both sit bones are nice and equally anchored. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, long spine as we fold over our right leg. Actively pulling that left knee to the mat. Keeping that long spine on our inhale. Exhales, maybe getting a little bit more of a hinge. And you'll see, doing right and left sides, inevitably, we all have sides that are tighter or looser. And I think it's a really good thing to notice and be aware of, and kind of tuck that away for further use. Try not to add any judgment about why your body's tight on one side or the other. Just let it be. It is what it is. And if you'd like to round on your next exhale, letting the head be heavy. On your next inhale, coming up with a long spine first, and then all the way up. And then bringing that left sole of the foot to the mat and crossing it over the right leg. Left hand can plant behind the left leg, or left hip. Inhale, arm up. And exhale as you twist to the left and hug that right knee in. And then again, if you feel like you don't need that left hand, bring it around. Double hug that right knee, sit nice and tall, and actively pulling that knee and thigh across your body as you twist into it. Shoulders down the back, keeping that right leg straight and strong. I caught myself being a little lazy there. Nope, I won't say that. That's judgment. It was letting go. Okay. All right, slowly letting out of that. We are going to come down onto our back, plant both feet firmly on the ground, and slowly lower all the way down to the mat. Extend both legs long. Actually, no, I'm changing my mind. Bring your feet flat to the ground, wide as the mat, and then let your knees fall to the center of your mat, just to kind of rest on each other. So just taking just a brief pause here. We changed positions. We're just kind of giving our mind and our body and our space we're in that time to just take this transition. Okay, both legs out long. And bring the right knee into the chest and give it a nice tug as you reach around the knee and pull it in. Stretch the tailbone to the mat and really reach with that left leg long, feeling just the compression in the right hip, but also a stretch through the groin. Now let go of that knee a little bit and shift your knee more towards the outside of your right rib cage, and now pull it in. So it's coming more to the side of your body, or towards that direction anyway. Again, reaching that left leg long, being active a little bit in that leg. And let go of that knee a little bit. And take your sole of the foot so it's up towards the ceiling. And then grab, coming into like a half happy baby. So right hand is on right foot, or your shin or your ankle, whatever you can grab here. And again, you're pulling that knee towards the outside of the rib cage. So your hand is pulling down on your right foot as your knee gets pushed down into the rib cage just on the outside of it. Again, straight and strong through that left leg. Sort of a half happy baby here. Releasing that, and then letting that left leg come across the body into a supine twist, opening up the arms to a T. You can adjust your hips however needed. You can do any supine twist variation if you've got some that you really, really like. Keeping that right shoulder anchored. You can also add props here. A block under the right knee can help kind of just let your body release. We're not done with our practice yet. Keep working on that full breath. Try not to release that control of your breath quite yet. We're almost there, but not quite. And then coming back into center and switching sides. So right leg long, left leg pulls in right into the chest. Actively reaching through the right leg, keeping that nice and straight and strong. Release the tension on that left knee, pull it to the outside of the left rib cage, and then pull in. And then releasing that knee just a little bit and coming into that half happy baby position. And if it helps to bend the right leg for you, by all means, go for that. That'll give you a little bit more stability. Grabbing whatever it is you can, either the ankle or the shin or the foot, and then pulling actively down into that left foot so that the knee drops down towards the outside of the left rib cage. As things start to quiet down in our practice, that thinking brain sometimes starts to sort of sense it and it takes over. So be mindful of that here. You carved this time out for yourself. Take it all the way to the finish line. Release that foot and coming into your supine twist, letting that left leg fall across your body, opening up your arms to a T. Any version of a supine twist. Anchoring that left shoulder, adding props here, shifting the hips, whatever you need to do to settle in here, but stay here with your full breath and your mind-body connection. Slowly bringing the knees back up to center. Stretch the arms out by the side. Bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees flop out wide. So now, as we're going to use this Supta Baddha Konasana shape as a transition into our final resting pose, Shavasana. So just take a moment. You can release any control over your breath. Just let the natural breath rhythm take over. Shut down the eyes. And just begin that process of letting your body succumb to gravity. Let it be heavy. When you're ready, extend one leg at a time out long. Take any, shifts or, wiggles that you need to do to feel comfortable, to again let go. And if there are props that you like to use, maybe under your knees or a blanket to put over you, take the time to set yourself up here. Shavasana is a resting pose. And it's the place where all of our movement and breath work and mindfulness begin to get integrated together. So although we are in a resting pose, we are still conscious. We're not sleeping. There's a certain amount of presence that we, may aim to have here. Start to begin the process of just coming back up to the surface. And allow this to be a transition. Wiggle your toes, maybe turn your head. Full body stretch. And perhaps roll to your side and eventually coming into a comfortable seated position, taking your time to do so. And once you're in that comfortable seated position, just closing down the eyes again and sort of moving a little bit more introspective. Bring your hands to heart center and lift your chest to meet your thumbs. And bow your chin in appreciation of your practice today. Give a little smile, fake or real. Remember that the gifts of yoga can follow you through your day and become tools in your tool belt. The highest light in me sees, honors, and respects the highest light in each of you. Namaste.